Good morning, dear. Welcome to our webinar, Lead Applicant for the second call for proposals. We're so happy to see that you're joining us in great numbers. Promises that, again, we will have quite many people applying for the second call. We're so happy that we launched on the 2nd of November our second call for proposals, which will be closed on 29th of March. Please check all the documents that are already on our We do hope that you can hear us now. If you can confirm. Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Maya. Thank you all. So, as I said, welcome, dear Danubians. This is the webinar for the second call, Lead the Applicant webinar. We launched our call on the 2nd of November. It will be closed on the 29th of March. As I said previously, when opening that we can see great number of you joining the webinar, which is promising that, again, we will have such a great number of applications, which is... Yes, so this is, we do hope that the audio quality is also fine. As this is the maybe Wi-Fi is not working well, but we do hope that it will get better. As I said, welcome once again. During October and September, we organized thematic webinars. Please note, this is very important, the specific objectives 1.1, 1.2, and 2.1 will not be open for the second call. There is one thematic webinar to come on the 13th, actually two thematic webinars on the 13th of November. So when we finish each presentation, you can post your questions. Please note that we won't be answering questions regarding thematic priorities. As I said, we already organized them. For more information, you can check our website, and there are also recordings. This will be also published on our website, this recording, as well as presentations. So now we should start with our lovely colleagues who will tell you all you need to know about the application process. So I wish you good concentration and hope to see you soon. My dear colleague, Kata, will now present you the eligibility requirements. Kata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Miri, and welcome you all on the webinar. I will now start sharing the screen for you. And we will, okay. Good, I hope everyone can see it. And then, now, as Miri mentioned, we would go through now the eligibility requirements for the second call. For those who have maybe also participated in the first call, this is for you to note that this call is a one-step call. So it's different from the first call when we had 2 steps. Now we have only one step, which means that we have also different criteria for assessment, but we will go through today all these, so you will get a nice overview about all the requirements. What we will be discussing now during the eligibility requirements is the nature of the eligibility check, first of all, then the related consequences of meeting these criteria or not meeting them. We would go through the criteria one by one, and we will discuss how these criteria can be met. Now, this eligibility assessment is actually confirming for you as applicant the correctness of the submitted information and documents, also in timely manner that you met the deadline, and also in a formal manner that you have a complete proposal. Please note that these eligibility criteria are of knockout nature, which means that we don't have a space for interpretation. The possible answers are either yes or no. The eligibility check is carried out by the MHAS and is assisted by our Danube Region National Contact Point colleagues. We altogether have 9 criteria for the overall proposal and 3 criteria on the level of the partners. If there are some requirements that are not met, in case of criteria 1 to 9, so in case of the overall criteria, it would lead to rejection of the whole proposal. So be careful that you meet all those criteria fully. And in case of the partner level criteria, we would reject only those partners who have an eligibility problem, okay? 1 partner or 2 partner or all those who are not eligible for the program. And you can, I marked it for you on the slide, so even later on, when you are checking your proposal, you can have a look. It's all in the applicant's manual to be found, what we are now presenting, so you can have a look also there on the assessment criteria. It's in the 3rd section on page 38. Let's now have a look at the overall criteria. So the application form, the first one, is a sort of easy one, that the application form has been submitted within the set deadline. It means date and time. So as Miri already mentioned, the submission deadline will be the 29th of March, 2024, 2 o'clock Central European Time. Okay. Second criteria, the application form shall be submitted through the program monitoring system. Now, this is even not allowing you to submit an application beyond the deadline. So actually, GEMS is checking it for you already. So in case you can submit your application, that you were okay with the deadline. Please, it's very important for the newcomers especially to highlight that do not leave these tasks to the last moments, as all kinds of things can occur when you are in a stress to finish something in the very last minute. And might be that GEMS can get overloaded. We didn't get such feedbacks in the first call, so apparently everything was fine, and also applicants were trying to be quicker than the deadline. But still make sure that you start this up, even if you are not preparing your application in the GEMS directly, but first you prepare it in a Word document or some parts, that you do all this copy pasting and uploading on time. The last thing is very important, that please make sure that your application is really submitted in GEMS, okay? So you would find there a check and submit button, and you can run a pre-submission check. And once you really submitted your application, if you go back to your GEMS profile, then you would see that the status is changed to submitted. So this shall be checked that you have this submitted status. And if you have any problem, you can always turn to the colleagues here at MHAS to help you with any issue, but please don't do that like 2 minutes before the deadline. Okay, the third criteria, that the application form is compiled in English. I've seen some questions were around this topic during the registration. So the whole proposal shall be prepared in English and only in English. Okay, so this is the official language of the program. The fourth criteria, that the partnership shall be composed at least by 3 financing partners from at least 3 different Danube region partner countries. And out of these 3 partners, at least 1 partner shall be a beneficiary from an EU member state. Okay, so this is important for you to remember. What is important here that all financing PPs would receive Interreg funds as co-financing, but you will hear more details about it by the colleagues later on. Fifth criteria, that the lead applicant is an eligible beneficiary. This will be checked by our respective Danube region national contact point colleagues. I will go now into a little bit of detail of eligibility issues. Then the sixth criteria, at least 3 joint level cooperational levels shall be chosen in the application form. You have actually 4 to choose for, and you need to mark and indicate at least 3. This is to be found in GEMS section C 7 and 5. So you can choose between the joint development, the joint implementation, the joint staffing, and joint financing. So more or less all of them can be very relevant in a transnational project anyway, but you can have a look and decide which one is really applying to your project. Then we have the 7th criteria, completeness of a partnership agreement. Here, what is important that we need a scanned version of the partnership agreement to be uploaded in GEMS. You can find the template. I will talk about it also later. So the partnership agreement template is to be found and needs to be kept like that. So you need to keep all the compulsory parts, and the only part which can be adopted by the partnership is the Article 5. This partnership agreement shall be signed by all directly financed partners, which means all partners, but I mean also lead applicant and also the financing partners, but not the associated strategic partners. Okay, so they don't have to sign it. Criteria 8, very important. Please make sure that you consider this as a serious topic, so that you shall select at least 2 program indicators, out of which the RCO 87, this organizations cooperating across borders, is a mandatory one. Okay, so please don't forget about this one. You can have even more than 2, that's just a minimum, but this cooperating one is a compulsory one. And please check the applicant's manual respective section. It's actually in the 2nd section where we are explaining and listing all the potential program indicators you can choose from. And what is very important, that the applicant's manual has an annex in section 4, where we are actually describing and explaining each indicator one by one, so you can have a good understanding what a program indicator is really meant by the program, because you might get another interpretation. So it's important that you have the same approach to the indicators as the program has. And then the 9th criteria, that the proposal has selected at least 2 respective program result indicators, which are, that's why I said respective, because they shall be connection with the selected output indicators. Okay, so, and out of these, as we had a compulsory output indicator, the same way we have a compulsory result indicator also. This is these organizations with increased institutional capacity due to their participation in cooperation activities across borders. Again, here is for you the section of the applicant's manual to be checked. This 2nd section, 7.8, and the annex 1 in the 4th section. And please turn to your thematic related project officer during the consultation when you go for that option, so that they can then help you to discuss or to set up which indicators you shall select if you have some issue with that. But even Natalia, our colleague, will help you with this in the next sections. And then we finished the overall criteria, and now we have the partner level criteria, which is the 10th in the row. It's about the check that the finance partners are eligible. So the partners shall fulfill all the requirements of the program, and this will again checked by the respective national contact point colleagues. You can find this part already on page 39 of the applicant's manual. Now, who are eligible applicants? I promised back in the LP eligibility that we would go through very quickly. So we have quite a wide range of potential organizations who can be applicants in the program. We can have local, regional, national public bodies, bodies governed by public law. We can have international organizations under national DRP partner states or international law. What is important that all international organizations, as actually like all other applicants, shall fulfill the EU, the program, and the national requirements in terms of the control, the validation of costs, and the audits. So there is no excuse that because someone has a different status, another rule would apply for that organization. And we can also have private bodies, non-profit and profit-making bodies founded by private law, who shall have a legal personality and shall make these results of the project available for the general public. And they also shall apply the principles of the public procurement of the program and EU and national requirements. And even if they assume the final financial liability for all sums if they are wrongly paid out. So we have quite a long list of potential applicants. And this is usually a question which occurs often, that is considering private companies. So what is important, that private not-profit bodies can be also lead partners, normal financing partners, and also associated strategic partners. But private profit-making bodies cannot be lead partners. Okay, so they can participate as a financing partner or as an associated strategic partner, but they cannot be lead partner in the project. Now, also the geographic eligibility is often a case that you are maybe bothered with and not sure about. So the direct EU financing is only available for the partners located in the program area. Okay, so we cover 14 countries. So this is the program area. You can also go and have a look in the applicant's manual where we are explaining it in detail also. What is important to highlight, that we might have legal entities in Germany outside the program area under the condition that they are competent in their scope of action for the eligible area and the activities are for the benefit of the program area. And they also shall certainly fulfill all the general eligibility criteria which are explained and detailed in the second section of the applicant's manual. Now, we can also have legal entities in Ukraine outside the program area. Very important question, always asked also during the first call. It's very important that the implemented operation outside the program area must directly contribute to the objectives of the program. Okay, so we shall see the linkages. And then the associated strategic partners can be the EU, from EU countries or from non-EU countries of the program area. Okay. Now, the 11th criteria, the completeness of the submitted partner documents. For each partner, you have to have the scans of the following documents to be uploaded in a scanned version in GEMS. What are these? The declaration of co-financing, the state aid declaration, declaration for international organizations if it's applicable. So because if you have such organizations that we need this declaration, and the lead partner also needs to submit this lead partner confirmation and signature. The 12th criteria on PP level is the completeness of submitted ASP documents. So for each associated strategic partner, we need a filled-in, signed and scanned ASP declaration, which is uploaded to GEM. Filled in. If you have missing documents from these annexes, or parts of the documents are not fine, not signed, not filled in, then MAJS might ask you to complement these within 5 working days, okay? So please note that we might give you this possibility to complement your proposal, but please try to be as precise as you can so that we can avoid this complementing period, because it's a little bit stressful for both parties, I would say. And then let's have a look again on all the annexes so that we mark it for you, because it's a one-step call, so we don't change procedures and annexes. So we all need these annexes at the very first point. So we have again this lead partner confirmation and signature filled in and signed only by the lead applicant. Okay. Then we have the partnership agreement. It is one document which shall be filled in and signed by each financing PP. Now let me give you a little bit insight to this partnership agreement, knowing from the first call and from the experience we had there, that there might be consortiums where some partners would like to sign this electronically and the others on paper. So then what you can do, that you actually have the document in one, and then you can attach to that document these electronically signed sheets separately. Okay, so then you can upload them separately to GEMS, because if you mix a paper signed document with an electronically signed one, then it's already is messing it up. Okay, so we can have it in one zip document, and then you can add the pages respectively to the case what you have, how many partners you had signed electronically and how many on paper. Okay. Now we need the declaration of co-financing that shall be filled in and signed by each financing partner. The state aid declaration also. So we need from all partners to be filled in and signed and uploaded in GEMS. The declaration for international organizations, it's not a mandatory one, so it's only if it's applicable for you. It shall be filled in and signed by each respective financing PP who is having these international organizations as status. And then the last one, the declaration of interest for the associated strategic partners, which shall be again filled in and signed, if applicable, but we strongly recommend that you have associated strategic partners to complement your nice project proposal. Now, as mentioned already, these templates of the annexes can be downloaded from the program website for the second call section. And as you might have a lot of partners, as in a transnational project, this is usually the case, you have to be aware that this collection of annexes is really a time-consuming process. So as soon as you think that your partnership is set up, please start collecting and preparing these, because you shall not leave it to the last moment. And what is important now, again, to highlight that at the moment, at this stage, we don't need original documents. I mean, you need to have them, otherwise you cannot have the scans, but you don't need to send it to MHAS. So we only need the scanned versions uploaded in GEMS. It's also very important to avoid the higher resolution when scanning annexes into the PDF. And you can pack the files and upload them in a zip file also. Here we've seen several approaches. Some is preferring to zip certain type of documents, like all declaration of co-financings in one zip file, and in another one, all the state aid declarations, so by thematic zipping, or you can actually zip in a one big zip file, all the documents, it's up to you. And you can also select in GEMS whether you just upload it to the annexes as such, or you actually indicate to which partner you are then attaching it in GEMS. It's up to you. We would find it anyway. Don't worry. Thank you for the attention. And I'm now giving the floor to my colleague, Natalia.
Thank you. But first, shall we only say that before leaving the floor to Natalia and Mirjana, who will cover the content and budget part of the application form, you also covered the questions we received through the registration forms, but now maybe we should check if we got any questions regarding the eligibility requirements.
Let's have a look at the chat. Greetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone couldn't hear us.
But I hope that at the end you could. Let's see.
Yes.
Okay.
We don't use headset, sorry, but we hope, because, not only one of us is talking at the same time.
We have one question regarding participation of Serbia. Are all regions of Serbia eligible to participate fully in the program, or there are some exceptions, limitations, etc.? The program mentions of NUTS regions of Serbia in two places, and it's a bit confusing.
It's yes, the applicant manual, if you can find in the applicant's manual, that's the correct option or reference, or how to put it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Whether we can send, sorry, because you don't know what we are reading. So whether we can send this presentation after the webinar, we would upload.
Yes, it will be uploaded on our website, both recording and presentations. There's another one question. Are branch office of international NGOs legally registered in a program country, but with 8 headquarters outside program country eligible as lead?
Branch office of international NGOs legally registered in a program country. Okay, but with the headquarter outside the program country. I mean, this is a bit tricky, sounds tricky to me. What I would suggest that you, in which country is the headquarter? We don't know,
the national
but yes, it would be the best to contact, but then which national contact point?
But they should know, right?
Yes, whichever national contact point you think to contact, based that you have registered office. Yes. Okay, and then head of JS is now helping me to complementing me, that in case you have the legal personality in the program country, then you are fine with this. Okay, and then you shall select with which one you are then actually applying. Thank you.
So then there is one question. Any list of possible partners validated, registered? No, we don't have such a list, but now I will use the opportunity to say that the matchmaking platform will be available in, let's say, 2 weeks, hopefully. Hopefully, we signed the contract with the service provider. We are working on it, and it will be published on our website and our communication media when the matchmaking platform is available. So through the platform, you can also search for potential partners. Thank you.
Okay. Partner searches. We again received the same question whether there will be a portal for partner search. So Eliana already answered. Will the second webinar have the same content, or will it be somewhat more specific when it comes to content of application form and specific objectives? I'm not sure which second webinar you mean. So until now we've covered thematic webinars for the specific objectives, and as Mirjana mentioned in the beginning, 2 are still to come on the 13th of November for the priority 2. And now we would go through the topics what you need to cover to prepare a full application form for this call. So I hope, let's wait until we finish all the presentation, and then you can maybe come back with a question if you have any.
But I believe the question regards the webinar, lead applicant webinar, to be held on the 20th of November. So yes, it will be the same objective content, yeah.
Okay. That's it.
It's in that's all.
Okay, then we go back to screen sharing.
So thank you very much for following this part of session. And now our colleagues, Natalia and Mirjana, will give you 1 hour of presentation regarding the content and budget. So enjoy. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. A quick switch. My name is Natalia Liholrod, and with me, Financial Officer Mirjana Arsenish-Petrovic. And I would like to say that we will have a rather extensive part. Hope you will not get worried. We will start with, it will be a mixture actually of gems. We will go into test version. Then I will cover points on how to fill in gems, and I will switch to slides and cover points on intervention logic. I will skip budget and eligibility of expenditures. So Mirjana will cover budget points. So it will be a combination of very important points when you fill in the application form. I would like to close this presentation for now, as far as we do not need it. On the program's website, you will find a link which will lead you to GEMS. There, I want to share my screen for you to see how it looks like when you enter. So here you will be able to register. I'm working in test environment. Just for me, it's easier to show you how it works. First, you need to register, and it will ask you your email. You will create a password. When you have it, you will be able to log in to GEMS under your credentials. Here you will be able to see the calls, and you can apply there by pushing the button apply. So if we push the button apply, there will be a possibility for you to identify the project acronym and create the project application form. Back, because I have already created a draft application form just for you to see how will it look like. So on the simple name ABC, because it's not so difficult as it looks like. So actually, when you don't be afraid that you forgot your password, for example. So because there will be a possibility to push a button, forgot my password, and you will receive a new one on your email. As a lead applicant, so you are registered first. So you created an application form with a project name. So the system provides you the number of the application form automatically. A lot of automatically actually. So you select program priority and the specific objective under which you plan to apply. If you have some issues with GEMS, please read carefully guidelines on how to fill in the application form in GEMS. You can find it on the project website under the second call for proposals, because it's a one-step procedure. There is no big difference actually, but it's important for you to read it. For those who already applied, you may know something, but there are a lot of newcomers, and I think it's important to cover all the important points. So in order to access GEMS, you can use Firefox, so all the browsers. So I don't think that you can use Internet Explorer for this. It's not very good, but actually it works better if you have Firefox. And so actually you can have, you can see the version here, which is created automatically. So you can see this version 5. You have an acronym of the project, and which can always be modified afterwards until the application form is submitted. So after you create an application form, you see this. You can go down and see project privileges section. If we click on project privileges section and you're the lead applicant and you want other partners, for example, it's a joint project and other partners can complement and insert some data. So the lead applicant can grant access rights for opening the application form to the project partners or collaborators. In order to receive access rights, a person should register first in GEMS and provide the lead applicant with the email address of the registered user. The access right is enabled in the project privileges. Here you just put the email address of the person or collaborator of the project partner who you want to be involved in with different rights. Here you see view, edit, manage. View is only like read-only rights. A user can access all the application form sections without being in the position of making any change. So actually you can only read what is written there. Edit means that you can modify or fill in all the application form sections, but you cannot submit. You can submit only with manage rights. So you can both edit, you can fill in the application form, and you can submit. Actually, it is possible for different users to work at the same time on the same application form. When working in parallel, users have to make sure that they are not working simultaneously in the same section or subsection, as there is a risk to overwrite information. Consequently, coordinating who is working when in the application form is crucial for a smooth use of GEMS during the application phase. The user accounts created to draft and submit the application will be available until the deadline of the call. In case the project is selected for funding, a new set of privileges will be created for every project partner. So application form, as has Kotelin mentioned, has to be submitted within the deadline. Application form should be submitted only electronically through GEMS. We do not need a paper version. So it should it should correspond to all the eligibility requirements which Kotelin has mentioned to you. So project identification, so you can see different icons and different sections here. So in project identification section, you can see fields like project ID, the name of the lead partner, the name of the project title, and project duration. It's very important to outline that the maximum duration of the project is 36 months. Again, a disclaimer or reminder to you, so be aware that for the second call, priority 1 and specific objective 2.1 are closed. So you cannot submit projects under these under priority 1 and specific objective 2.1. In the order of the project partners and specific objectives, how you created them initially, cannot be modified, and you can only delete them and overwrite again if you want to change the order. Again, the minimum requirement for partners is 3, and the maximum number of specific objectives is also 3. You can have up to 3 specific objectives. So let's go one by one. And when filling in the application form in GEMS, it's very important to follow the number of characters indicated in the different fields. Read carefully the guiding questions, and actually a lot of prompts are provided in guidance in each section of GEMS. Do not use the Enter key of your keyboard to save data while filling the form, as it may lead to unexpected results. Always use the comments provided by the GEMS interface. When filling in longer sections, so please regularly save in order to avoid losing data in case of interruptions of your internet connection or any other technical issues. Being inactive for a long period may automatically end your session for security reasons, and unsafe data would be lost. So actually there is a Word version of this application form. So it is generated and you can find it on the program's website. So if you develop the project, it's not obligatory for you to write it immediately in GEMS. It's also possible, but actually you can fill it in Word document if you wish. So it's also available and you will be able to see there the whole application form, how it looks like in Word. Maybe for your understanding, it would be much more easier to see. And most fields are self-explanatory and automatically generated, as I have mentioned. So project partners, and you can have a look at project overview tables here, and you can see a project identification, as I mentioned. But when you fill in the project, so for example, you start with the selection of priority, specific objective, acronym, and there's also project summary section, which has a character limit, as you can see, 5,000 characters. So here you need to provide a short overview of the project and describe the common challenge of the program areas, so the overall objective of the project and expected change the project will bring. So by reading this project summary section, it should be clear actually what your project is about. Here, in project partner section, you can add partners and you can provide an information on partners. So I added 2 partners, and I will show you how to add more. By pushing the button Add New Partner, you can add a partner and select whether the partner will have a role of the lead partner or just a partner.
Sorry for interrupting.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, it was visible. I did not understand this. No, thanks. Hope now it's better. So, for example, if it's a partner, again, you put some abbreviation, name in a regional language, name of the organization in English, department, unit, division, if it is the case. Everything what is marked with asterisks is obligatory, actually. So you should indicate the field public or private organization, VAT number, and indicate is your organization entitled to recover VAT or no. You can select, and then you can push a button create. And after this, you will be able to see different fields on the top, like sections, address, contact, motivation, budget, co-financing, and state aid. So actually here we have already filled in the first section about partner identification. You can see If we go back, I have previewed the sections on address. So here you will select the country and you actually can type in the beginning of the name of the country and you can select the country. The same with NUTS regions. Then you select the street, house number, postal code, city, home page, and address of the department or unit if applicable. If it's like a big university or department or for some public structure. So actually it's also can be done here. The next step is contact. So here, be very, very attentive because when you provide the contact, especially for the lead partner, so the details, the name, the email address, and the telephone number will be used for further communication. So actually, we will come back to this email informing you whether your proposal was successful or unsuccessful, whether some supporting documents have to be signed within the 5 days, as Kotlin mentioned, if it is the case. So actually, it's very important to double check whether this information is provided correctly. In motivation tab, there will be 3 sections, and the last one will be only for the lead partner. So all other financial partners, you can put NA, so there is no need for financial partners to fill in this section because it relates only to the lead partner, where the lead partner will have to describe the organization's experience in participating in EU co-financed projects or other international projects. So here, basically, the experience of the lead partner and is described. First 2 sections are dedicated to the first one is dedicated to the organization's thematic and territorial competence and experiences which are relevant for the project. So here also you need to specify why exactly this organization is needed, why it has unique experience which may be useful for this project. The second part, here you need to describe the role and the contribution and main activities of the organization. So here also indicate the proportion in percentage of the total partner budget to be allocated for project management activities. It's very important to understand that there will be no separate activity dedicated to management and communication. Management and communication within the project should be like a horizontal thing, and you indicate here only the indicative, so it should not be very like strict because maybe during conditions clearing something will be modified, and here the indicative allocation in percentage should be indicated for management. I will skip budget section because my colleague will come back to this a bit later. We can move on, and actually associated strategic partners can be added in the same way. Each project can have, it's also optional, it's not a must, but usually it's a good thing, and many projects have associated strategic partners, can be added in the same way. We can type the name of the organization, and then supporting partner, so meaning the partner who will finance this associated strategic partner for travel and accommodation, because only travel and accommodation costs can be covered for associated strategic partner. Let's assume it's still LP, and we can type, I don't know what, and create. By creating, we can also delete. Actually, there's always a delete button in ASP section, in partner section, and in specific objective. Delete, and the icon appears, the confirmation. So here you can confirm or cancel if you did it by mistake. Then we move on to the section C, project description, and to the project overall objective. So here you can see the specific objective you selected. Then you have project main objective, which you have to identify yourself. Please be very specific and the project objective should be realistic and achievable by the end of the project. Specify who needs project results and in which territory. Be measurable, indicate the change you are aiming for. So, for example, you can have this project main objective like to promote slow tourism in the Danube region and enhance the employability of vulnerable groups by providing solutions based on the innovative methodology, and so on and so forth. So please read these guiding questions, which will help you to understand what this main objective should include. The next section, point 2, this is about project relevance and context. So actually, here the intervention logic starts because this is the theory of change. You come with the need and challenge in the region, and it pushes you towards doing something, actually, to improve the situation, to do certain steps through activities, deliverables. You come up with outputs and results. I will switch on to my presentation and I will stop on the intervention logic in more details a bit later. Now here in this section, I want you to understand what we expect to have and to see in these sections. So here also, when you write a guiding sentence, it may help you to understand what should be written here. So here you have to be concrete, both on the issues to be addressed and the geographical scope and the present status quo in general descriptions. Be concrete and concretely demonstrate that the change is needed and common for the target area. So actually, if you add some quantitative statistical data, it would be highly appreciated, especially if you have pilot actions and you selected certain pilot areas. So if you selected those pilot areas, they also should be outlined here, this need and challenge in those pilot areas. So you have to ask yourself, is the change need description concrete and specific enough to justify the relevance and added value of the planned activities and outputs? Is the challenge need description clear and concrete enough to demonstrate its linkages to the project objectives and activities, outputs, and results? So here also make sure that the EU SDR is embedded at the level of common territorial needs and challenges. As far as EU SDR is also should be considered, because you develop the project proposal, you can read the territorial analysis, which also could be found on the program's website, and you can be inspired and you can understand better the situation in the Danube region. And then when you develop your own project proposal, you can also develop this section better. Section C 2.2, how does the project tackle the identified common challenges and or opportunities, and what is new and innovative about the approach the project tackles? So here you need to describe what is the concrete approach and related measures you are going to implement to address within your project proposal. You need to demonstrate the concrete link between the project intervention logic, elements and the addressed challenge, as well as between the program intervention logic. Here you have to present concretely what is already existing, achieved so far, and what needs new approach or improvement. Demonstrate concretely the relevance and added value of the project activities and outputs compared to what is existing and how concretely this would improve the addressed situation. Why is transnational cooperation needed? This is section 2.3 to address the identified needs and challenges. So also here you have to ask yourself, is the transnational dimension of the addressed challenge, issue, and the territorial scope clearly or concretely demonstrated by your project? Why transnational cooperation needed instead of working on country or local level? Maybe the transnational program is not the way to resolve this challenge. Maybe CBC programs would fit better. Here we have to see, and you have to convince actually us and to prove that the transnational cooperation is the only way to address this need and challenge. Do project activities and outputs have clear transnational dimension? What is the transnational impact that would not be possible to be achieved without this cooperation? The next section, C 2.4, relates basically to target groups. So here, who will benefit from your project outputs? You do something within your project proposal, you have outputs and then results, and you do it for someone. Here, by pushing the plus button, you can select target groups and add them. So here, local public authority, regional public authority, national public authority, let's say, and in the specification section, here you need to provide a clear reference to the specific target group. So if it is possible, if you know what exactly national public authority you are targeting, you can also name it, specify, like it will be the Ministry of Culture and Tourism in Romania, let's say. If it will be some other national public authority and maybe the extent of their involvement if you already know this. So try to clearly specify and maybe if there will be enough space and character limits will not restrict you, you can provide a reference how the target groups will integrate project outputs. If no, it can be done in the output description as well. So pushing the button delete, we can also delete this field. Section C 2.5 relates to strategies and policies and how does the project contribute to them. So actually, you can select strategies. Here there are Territorial Agenda 2030, European Green Deal, EU Strategy for the Danube region, and other. So actually, you can add here and also describe here the contribution of those strategies. Be very attentive because EU strategy for the Danube region, EU SDR, is actually should be an integral part of your application form and should contribute to your project proposal. Actually, you have to respect EU SDR throughout of your proposal. And it's not enough just to mention it here in the respective section, but throughout the application form, starting from needs and challenges, here in the work plan, in the specific objectives, some activities, in the durability and transferability. But when you describe here, for example, the EU SDR, and you understand that the project is, let's say, in culture and you have to indicate that PAC 3 will be involved and your project will demonstrate the contribution to certain targets of this priority area. So I would highly recommend you to also read the EUSDR action plan to can be involved or which priority areas could be addressed. Can be more than one is the key idea of the project of your project proposal. The next part, C 2.6, is about synergies and capitalization. Name the text, so which synergies with the past current EU or initiative your project is going to capitalize or create synergies with. Here, it's not enough just to describe this project or initiative nicely, that it's about some slope tourism, let's say. It's also very good to understand which particular output of the project you will use. If it is the case, if it's an existing project and they produced methodology training program, and you will use that training program or methodology within your project, it's also must be indicated here, and maybe in some activities when you have a training, so you can mention that we will capitalize on certain training program. You can add, and there is no limitation actually, you can add, but it has to be reasonable, and you have to also, you have an option to delete, add and delete. Section C 2.7 about how does the project build on available knowledge. Here you have to define all those previous projects or initiatives that you intend to capitalize on, describing what exactly is to be capitalized in terms of outputs and results. It can be done either here or here. So actually how you will build on available knowledge. And you can save changes. Don't forget to save changes here. So I'm scrolling, there's nothing. So I see that someone wrote in the chat that I need to scroll. So I'm not sure whether it is visible. So if we move to project partnership section, here basically we have only one field to fill in, also with the character limit of 5,000 characters. And project partnership, we have to understand, and here you have to explain actually the project partners involved and make a clear presentation and justification of the partnership in the context of the addressed challenges and planned activities and outputs. So project partners, from which countries are they and why? Why these type of organizations are chosen? Expertise and thematic territorial competencies are in their respective geographic setting is the best to address the specific challenge. So here, basically, you need to provide us a comprehensive overview of the partnership. We can move on to the project work plan, which consists of specific objectives. Maximum 3 up to 3 specific objectives can be added. By pushing add new specific objective button, you can have a new one. By pushing delete, you can also delete specific objective. Here, under specific objectives, you will have different tabs like investments, activities, and outputs. Specific objective, here you need to give a title of the specific objective, just a brief title that appropriately reflects the specific objective. Specific objectives should be also realistic and achievable by the end of the project. They should be measurable. So actually, do not name all the activities here you want to have. So do not just quote something from the program document. So here, please define your project specific objective that will be achieved. So the described effect of the project activities and outputs to be achieved by the project end, not the activities and outputs themselves, as I have already mentioned. Under each specific objective, there's a respective communication objective. So here you also need to formulate your communication objectives and think about how they will contribute to the achievement of the specific objectives. So pay attention to how communication objectives are going to change target audience's behavior, knowledge, and belief. Investment, it can be the case, a small remark that Danube Region program is not an investment or like big program which supports big investments, so to say. We can support investments like at a low level, and it should not be predominant in the project's budget. But if it is the case and you have investment, you can also add investment and specify it. Here you can scroll. Hope you see what I see. Just a second. I will shift the bar. Investment title and period, expected delivery period. Here you can also select. It can be within the 36 months. Be very attentive and please explain why this investment is needed. So there is a possibility to link the investment to a specific objective, and you have to indicate the number, the title of the investment, and you have to justify why this investment is needed and have to describe the transnational relevance of it as well. You have to indicate the objective of the investment in correlation with the project objectives and the involvement of the project partners. Location and the ownership of the investment shall also be indicated. In principle, the ownership of the investment should lie within the project partnership. It's very important. You have to justify for the investment, explaining why it's necessary for the project implementation and for achievement of the project objective. So you have note also that investments are eligible only in case they follow a transnational physical or functional link over the national border. For example, transport corridors, which has been analyzed from a transnational point of view and has a clear impact over the national borders. Or create a transferable practical solution through a case study in one area which is jointly evaluated by the project partners and transferred for testing in at least 2 other participating countries. So you have to explain investment quite extensively, its transnational relevance, who will benefit, partners, regions, and users from this investment, and in what way. So here you also have to be specific. In case of pilot investment, please clarify which problem it tackles, which findings you expect from it, how it can be replicated, and how the experience coming from it will be used for the benefiting of program area. Location of the physical investment, if you you have to keep in mind that actually the location has to be ideally within the project partnership, but if it's a third party, we will require some additional agreement, which actually will prove that it will be maintained and kept for 5 years after the project implementation, because it's also very important to understand that the ownership and the maintenance has to be remain for 5 years. Here you also have to describe the risk associated with the investment, if there's any, of course. Investment documentation. So actually, if some extra building permits are required for investment according to respective national legislations, so here you have to indicate it in this field. For investments in infrastructure with an expected lifespan of at least 5 years, please indicate whether an assessment of expected impact of climate change has been carried out. Should it be necessary, you must be ready to submit this document to the relevant program body or bodies. Here you also have to be very specific while you describe your investment. So if you have equipment as part of investment, it should be listed here. Be very specific. If you need equipment for which will be installed and not movable, so it can be considered like a part of investment. Here you can provide a detailed list of equipment, and respectively it should be reflected in the budget section under equipment. If you have some works like refurbishment, reconstruction of something, there is also in the budget section works. So my colleague will talk about it later, but if you describe investment, you should also be very specific here. And for us, it should be understandable where it comes from, and the understanding, the connection with the budget, with activities, and again, this transnational relevance of the investment is a crucial thing. And the last is ownership. So here you should answer the questions: who owns the site where the investment is located? Who will retain ownership of the investment at the end of the project? Who will take care of the maintenance of the investment? How will it be done? So this investment section is very extensive, but it's very detailed, and it's very important to be precise here. The next step is activities, and here you can have as many activities as you like. There is no limit again, but it should be reasonable and it should correspond to the project topic. So actually you can delete activities by pushing delete button, and you can still add activities by pushing Add Activity button. Activities, here you can provide the title of activities and identify starting period and end period of activities. Under description, so there is a character limit, of course, but it's rather extensive. It's 3,000 characters. Start your activity description with the indicative budget allocation for this activity, which also includes management and communication, maybe. You have to be clear here while describing your activities, and you should provide us the description, what will be done, by whom, and how this activity will be performed, which partners or maybe which associated strategic partners will be involved in these activities. You should avoid generic terms such as concepts, definitions, and too general descriptions that do not contain a geographical and time reference. Capitalization activities, just a small remark, are mandatory, and the related budget have to be envisaged already in the application form. The capitalization activities have to be included in the project work plan in a coherent manner according to the project structure and expenditures included in the concerned activities. So actually, capitalization activities, you can set them as a separate activity, or they can be a part of already existing activities. Here you also have a tab where you can indicate partners involved, or you can delete also, and you can add. Under each activity, you should select at least one deliverable. It can be also more deliverables. You can push the button and create. You put the deliverable title, you put the description, and a respective deliverable period. And don't forget to save changes. Outputs. Here I will stop for now, and I will switch to the presentation because I think it's an important thing for you to visualize how the intervention logic in terms of connection of outputs and result indicators works within the program. So his seat also. So the intervention logic, as I have mentioned, it's the theory of change, actually. You create your project, you come up with the project idea, which is necessary for the whole Danube region. There's a common need. You create specific objectives, you implement some activities, and you come up with output indicators and result indicators. So there are certain output indicators which should be connected with the respective result indicators. This scheme illustrates us perfectly the whole picture. And here we have different indicators like strategies and action plans jointly developed. This output indicator should be connected with the result indicator, joint strategies and action plans taken up by organizations. Pilot actions developed jointly and implemented in the projects can be connected with the respective result indicator organizations with increased institutional capacity due to their participation in cooperation activities across borders or other than organizations counted under RCO 87. And it should, if you have pilot actions, they should result in solutions. You cannot have solutions without pilot testing something. So actually, if you have output indicator pilot actions, you should have an output indicator jointly developed solutions. And if you have an output indicator jointly developed solutions, you should also have a result indicator solutions taken up or upscaled by organization. Organizations cooperating across border, it's a mandatory indicator. I will highlight it separately on the next slide. And it should be correlated with their result indicator organizations with increased institutional capacity due to their participation in cooperation activity across borders. So the first indicator, RCO 82, is basically applicable for the social priority for 3.1, 3.2. And also the last indicator, project supporting cooperation across borders to develop urban-rural linkages, was applicable in 4.1. So actually, those are the main ones. And please, again, I pay your attention. Kotelin already mentioned, but it can be a fatal mistake, so to say, for you when you have when you will not select obligatory mandatory output indicator organizations cooperating across border, along with the corresponding result indicator organizations with increased institutional capacity due to their participation in cooperation across borders. And you should also have two output indicators and two respective result indicators. This is a minimum requirement. Of course, you can have more, but at least two output indicators and two result indicators, out of which one is mandatory. Hope it's clear. So, and here are some typical issues which we observed during this first call for proposal, and I want you to read carefully. I will have it on my slide, the link to the Annex 1 of the applicant's manual, where you can find the extensive information on indicators, how to count them properly, how to understand them, because very often it happened that the understanding of the program was different from your understanding. So it's very important when you develop a project, please read this Annex 1 and please read applicant's manual and all other respective documents. So about mandatory indicator, so all the projects will have this indicator, and you will have to count to have a measurement, and within this output indicator, you have to count project partners and associated strategic partners as mentioned in the application form and subsidy contract. So basically this formal cooperation within the partnership. By default, you have it, and that is why it's important for you to have the same measurement unit and to calculate it properly. And another output indicator, strategies and action plans jointly developed. Here you also have to understand that a joint strategy and action plan is to be counted if it is developed by the project while it should be counted separately. So if you have a strategy and you have action plans, so please count them separately in the output indicator. So you cannot have action plans without a strategy. So actually action plan is like small steps to implement the jointly developed strategy. So also guidelines, policy recommendations and other similar documents of the strategic relevance, but not being strategy and action plan, shall not be counted under this output indicator. It's very important because very often policy recommendations were mixed up with our understanding of strategy. And the strategy should reflect the common vision of the Danube region in the specific field. They should aim at policy integration in the Danube area in the targeted fields. And so they should be like policy drivers below EU level and above national level. Of course, you can have regional strategies, but still it should be the strategy, actually, not policy recommendation, not the guidance. So another indicator, which actually is very often we faced challenges and applicants face challenges on how to count, how to treat this indicator on pilot actions developed jointly and implemented in projects. So pilot actions, they usually have an experimental nature and either testing of innovative product, methodology, tools, etc., or demonstrating the application of existing products, methodologies, tools to a certain territory sector. So in order to be counted by this indicator, the pilot action needs not only to be developed, but also implemented within the project. And the implementation of the pilot action should be finalized by the end of the project. So pilot actions should result in a solution. So they should be developed jointly, implemented, finalized, and by the end of the project, you should have a jointly developed solutions after pilot testing something. So this solution, this can be diverse. This can be tools, for example, analytical, monitoring, management, decision-making tools, instruments, technologies, for example, software, ICT solutions, platforms, methodologies, concepts, guidelines, processes, agreements, services, etc. Again, I ask you to read carefully Annex 1 of the applicant's manual. I tried to pinpoint very important side, but still there you will find an extensive information in the applicant's manual. So this Annex 1 is not a separate document, it's integrated in the applicant's manual. So here you can see the link. You can go to the program's website, upload applicant's manual, and find it there. Switching back to test GEMS version. I'm not sure whether, no, good. Okay, so here when we have outputs, as I have mentioned, you have to select outputs, and you can give you must give an output title here, and you can select the indicator. So pilot actions, organizations cooperating across borders, I selected because it's mandatory and it should be selected by all the projects. And measurement unit of the organizations, basically it's the number of partners plus associated strategic partners. So here I put 3 because I put 3 partners here. Delivery period also, and the output description with their character limit. It's not so extensive, but please be specific, and it should be clear what you will produce in the end. And if you have place, we highly recommend also to include here how target groups, which target groups will integrate this output in the end. So you can also delete output or add output by pushing add button. Project results. So here also project results should be correlated with output indicators. So if you have organizations cooperating across border, you should have organizations with result indicator, organizations with increased institutional capacity due to their participation in cooperation activities across borders. If you have a joint strategy or action plan, you should also have it here in the result indicator section. So here you can target value can be both joint strategies and action plans, and you can select delivery period and provide a description of the result indicator. The time plan is generated automatically when you actually filled in your activities, deliverables, outputs, and results. So it can be visible here. It's a bit awkward here because I did not develop a professional application form, but still you should not fill it in. It's filled in automatically. Project management section is a very important one because here you provide us an extensive information about how will you coordinate your project, like section C 7.1. So here you need to provide the description of the management structure that will be set up for the project management. For example, steering committee meetings, steering groups, advisory boards. Additionally, a description of how internal communication inside the project will be set up. So actually, here everything about the internal management and communication. Section C 7.2 is about which measures will you take to ensure quality in your project. So here you shall describe also how the quality assurance of the project outputs will be ensured. For example, external experts will be used or internal staff, paying attention to secure the independence of the quality assurance manager. So also you can consider risk management, let's say, or sometimes some partners have external companies which provide management functions. So it can be illustrated under motivation tab of each partner, and it also be highlighted here in the management section. Section C 7.3, what will be the general approach you will follow to communicate about your project? Here you have to describe the whole communication. So please note that all communication activities should be included in the different specific objectives as an integral part of your project. There's no need to repeat this information here, as far as I have mentioned that each specific objective has this communication objective also there. How you foresee the financial management of the project and ensure that the spending focus is kept. Here also the financial management, the structure of the financial management should be described here, including responsibilities, monitoring of the spending focus and financial flows, project transfers and related claims. So you should underline here what kind of measures will be taken in case of delays. Risk management could also be considered. Cooperation criteria, these are joint development, joint implementation, joint staffing, and joint financing. It's very important for all the projects to select at least 3 cooperation criteria. It can be 4 if you wish, but 2 of them are mandatory: joint development and joint implementation. Actually, as Katalin mentioned, if you were listening to her attentively, so it also can be like a knockout criteria during eligibility check. So for example, if you haven't selected 3 cooperation criteria and you haven't selected at least 3, I mean, and you haven't selected out of them mandatory, which are joint implementation, joint development, it can be in the end a problem, and it can lead to the impossibility for your project proposal to be assessed further on. So basically, you can select all 4 cooperation criteria. Horizontal principles. So actually, you have to indicate which type of contribution to horizontal principle applies to the project and justify your choice. So here we have sustainable development, EU Charter of Fundamental Rights, gender equality, non-discrimination, strategic environmental assessment, if applicable. Please read carefully the applicant's manual. So if it's the case of your project, you also have provided information here. Durability and transferability section C8. So consists of 2 sections. So actually it has 3, but the first one is not applicable. So please put NA here in this field. Otherwise, the system will not allow the submission of the application form. But the main parts are C8.2 and C8.3. Durability. Durability refers to the long outputs, including their further valorization. The section should also tackle the sustainability of the project outputs and its 3 dimensions: financial sustainability, institutional sustainability, and political sustainability. So actually, this is very important for us to understand that you implemented something, you produced outputs, you have results, and whether these results will be durable in the end, and whether these results will be transferable. So this is also very important for us to understand that you produce something which can be applicable in the whole Danube region and maybe beyond. So also you have to think of involvement of the EUSDR and embedding. Maybe it will help you in the descriptive part of the transferability and durability. Here we also basically the end of my presentation because I will skip the budget section for now. And here, just for you to understand that before submitting, there is check and submit section, which will show you, so basically what is not filled in properly. So if you push the button run pre-submission check, so there's in red indication of what is badly submitted, and you can open and understand which particular section needs improvement. If everything is okay, you can submit your project application form by pushing submit button. Also, you should not use it just before the submission. Actually, it can help you a lot when you fill in the application form and you can just check yourself. So every time it's a draft version until it is submitted, the status of the application form in GEMS will be draft. After submission, it will be changed to submitted. So actually, before you submit, you can save, you can change something, and you can also export the application form if you finalized it or if you want to see it in paper or in PDF. So you can also export application form and the budget by pushing here and push the button export, and the system will generate you a PDF of the application form. Hope my part was clear for you and not so long, and I'm ready to answer your questions if you have them. For now, I will look in chat just a second, and then I will give a floor to my colleague Mariana, and then we will have a break, and after this break, my colleague Horst will talk about quality assessment, and then Michal, communication manager, will speak on the communication part. Okay, what is the difference between co-financing and budget? So budget, we will come back to this later. Like to discuss matchmaking. Isha, does the percentage include staff costs? Can you scroll? Just a second, I'm reading. So it's like partner search here. So we develop matchmaking platform. Okay, nice to meet you. Just a second. I try to find questions. I started from the very beginning. Okay, so I cannot see questions. It's more or less just matchmaking. Okay, so it's good that you found a platform to exchange it right away online. We are happy if it will be successful and you will result in the successful project. So still, I'm here until the end of the presentation, and can we have some kind of blog or similar part on platform for exchange ideas or questions? Matchmaking platform will exist, and I think there you will have an opportunity also to see what similar ideas will be there. So something similar like this, I'm not sure that it will be like live chat, but still there will be an opportunity to write to a respective partner. Which is the priority 2.1 closed? Will it be open at the later stage? Thank you. So it was decided LinkedIn group. Okay. Yes, LinkedIn will be something similar like here actually. About 2.1 and 1.1 and 1.2 actually. The whole priority 1 and specific objective 2.1 are closed for the second call for proposal. Maybe if it is decided by the program and the monitoring committee, maybe there will be an opportunity to open some special within the third call, but it's a question mark. For now, we have only the information that it's closed for the second call. Is the EU strategy for the Danube region, the CESI papers, something else? It's something else. So if you EU strategy for the Danube region, so you can find the information they have a separate website where you can find their action plan and the information on priority areas. There are 12 of them, and each priority area has a priority area coordinator. So actually, it's a very extensive thing, which is financed through the Danube Region program, but it's a complementary thing because many initiatives, many projects are taking place and they are complementary. So you have to consider EUSDR, this is the abbreviation of EU Strategy for the Danube Region, seriously when developing the application form. So, yeah. Okay, I will give a floor to my colleague Mirjana.
Thank you, Natalia. Just for a moment, I will, until I set. Thank you. Okay, I will now try to share my presentation. Yes. Okay. Today, I'm very happy to be here, and today expenditure, and at the end we will go back to GEMS, and I will show you how to fill the budget part. In this section about the project budget planning, I would like to mention the most important aspects. So the first and most important is that the budget should be realistic, which means that the partner's budget should be built based on their activities, defined by the costs for cost categories and periods. Based on this partner's budget, consequently, it will produce the total budget of the project per partners, per cost categories and periods. What is also very important aspect that you should take into consideration when planning the budget is to use the simplified cost options. We have one lump sum, which is the preparation cost available for the project for the lead partner, and three flat rates among the staff cost, office administration, and travel and accommodation cost. I will talk about this later, but this is something which you have to take into consideration when budgeting when planning your budget and the budget of the partners. We had the questions related to the source of funding. So out of 100% of the project budget, 80% will be financed by the Interreg funds. 20% should be covered by own contribution. Own contribution can be covered by the state contribution if the state is providing the contribution, and then also it can be a public and can be a private contribution. For more information about what is available in your country, I advise you to turn to our colleagues at the national contact points. We also, what I would like to mention here, that we are working on a principle of reimbursement. So all the costs should be first spent, incurred and paid, and then validated by the controllers, and then you will receive 80% of the funds. To go back, what is also important and sometimes is forgotten to be are the control costs in case of the partners coming from Austria, Germany, and Moldova. They should be planned under the external expertise and services cost category, but for more information and what amount should be budgeted, I also advise you to the partners from the countries to contact the national contact points in those countries. What is also important is that the use of euro, which means that the project of the budget of the partner and the overall project budget should be planned in euros. All the expenditure will be reported in euros, and the EU contribution will be transferred to the lead partner in euros. I will talk a bit about the spending forecast of the project. It's very important that the project budget should be planned per reporting periods. The spending forecast on a partner level will produce the project spending forecast. And the reporting periods are in general 6 months, but the first and last can differ from that. Why this is important? To be planned carefully for each project partner, because the spending level of the partner influences the overall project level spending. Then it should be plan of the project. So if the activities are fulfilled within a certain reporting period, then if expenditure are incurred and then paid within a reporting period and validated within a certain reporting period. As I already mentioned, this should be realistic. The time frame of each activity should be considered, including also the time needed for a public procurement payments. Project spending forecast will be part of the subsidy contracts for successful applicants, and it is important because if in case the verified eligible expenditure is not reported according to approved spending forecast, the MAJS will assess the level of underspending and the reasons for lower financial performance, and is entitled in this situation, it's entitled to decommit the project by reducing the project budget and the corresponding contribution from the EU funds. We had a question also in the registration. I would like to talk about the time frame for reimbursement. So the reporting periods, as I have already mentioned, are in general 6 months. Then there is a period of 3 months within which the partner should prepare the report, and then this report should be validated, verified by the controller, and then the lead partner should prepare the progress report, including all the issued certificates, and prepare this progress report, including the application for reimbursement, and submit to the MAJS to check this report. And it's really essential and depends on the quality of the report, how fast this will be approved. So if the quality of the report is high, the shorter is time of approval of the progress report. And then the body transferring the money will transfer the money within 10 days. So approximately from the starting of the reporting period, there is 10.5 months, which should be for the financial resources. I will go shortly through eligibility of expenditure. In this section, I will talk about the hierarchy of rules, non-eligible cost, eligibility in time, and eligibility of expenditure by cost categories. We have 3 levels of hierarchy of rules. The highest level is EU regulation. Then it comes the program rules. The most important document relates to eligibility of expenditure is the Manual on Eligibility of Expenditure, version 2 from the October 2023. This relates to the second call. If you have versions from the first call, please take into consideration and download from the website this manual on eligibility for the second call. Then the last level is the national, including specific institutional rules, which are applicable for the things which are not covered by the program rules and the EU rules. And what is important, then this national or institutional rules cannot overrule the manual of eligibility. The rules lie down in the eligibility manual of eligibility of expenditure. Few words about non-eligible costs. This list is set in the program manual, and in this programming period, the value-added tax, for example, is eligible for the operation of the total cost of which is below 5 million euros, including VAT. But the cost of gifts are not eligible. Then the costs related to the fluctuation of the foreign exchange rate are not eligible. And what we also do not support is in-kind contribution and project expenditure split among the project partners or the sharing of the common costs. Few words about eligibility in time. So all the project expenditure, in order to be eligible, should be actually incurred and paid between the starting date of the project and end date of the project, as it is defined in approved application form and also the subsidy contract. What is important here that we have exceptions. Exceptions are preparational costs. I already have mentioned them. So there is an option to have this lump sum in case the project did not already receive some funds for a preparation from the EU strategy as a seed money facility or any other EU funds. This amount will be disbursed only to the lead partner in the 14,800 in the EU contribution of 18,500 to the lead partner budget. Then we have a control costs, which are related to the last progress report and application for reimbursement, and then expenditure, which are incurred in the last report and which to be paid within 16 days from the end date of the project. All these deadlines will be defined in the subsidy contract. According to regulation, we have 6 cost categories. So all the expenditures are divided and should be divided among these 6 cost categories. All of them are explained in details in the manual on eligibility of expenditure. So I really encourage you to read carefully. Here, I will just give you a brief overview and the main points of each category. So staff cost. So under this cost category, the cost of personnel which are employed by the beneficiary institution and which are performing the task of the project should be claimed. They are limited to their salaries and all the contributions linked to their salaries. We have 2 methods for reimbursement. First method is the real cost basis, and the other method is the flat rate of 20% of direct cost other than staff cost. What is important to note is that each partner must choose one of these reimbursement options in the final application form, and this method should remain unchanged through the entire period of the project. Few words about each method. So if the staff costs are reimbursed as on a real cost basis, in this case, justification and all the supporting documents are necessary. And under this cost option, we have 2 methods: full-time working on a project and part-time working on a project with a fixed percentage of time worked per month on the operation. In case of flat rate basis of reimbursement of the staff cost, 20% flat rate, as it is defined in application form, will be automatically applied by GEMS. I will show you later how this is done. In case of every flat rate, no justification and supporting documents is necessary. So this is one of the principles of the simplified cost option. But what is also important is that in case of staff costs are planned on this flat rate basis, no further staff cost incurred on a real cost basis can be reported under this or any other cost or other cost categories. And then, of course, the eligibility of staff costs does not depend on the form of reimbursement. The second cost category are office administrative costs. They are a flat rate, which means that they are based on a 15% of eligible staff cost. Of course, I will show you later in GEMS that you have to select this method in the application form in order to use it. As every flat rate, no justification or supporting documents is needed. And then if staff costs are not eligible, the office administrative costs cannot be declared. But if the staff costs are declared on a flat rate basis, office administrative costs are eligible and can be claimed. What is also important is to mention, and you will find in our manual, there is also, it comes from the regulation, this exhaustive list of the types of expenditure which are covered by the office administrative cost. It is important that all of these costs cannot be claimed under any other cost category. travel and accommodation costs this cost category covers the project-related travel cost of the project staff, which are employed by the project partner, and associated strategic partners financed by the beneficiary. We are reimbursing the travel and accommodations cost based on a flat rate of 15% of the staff cost, and the real cost can be chosen in duly justified cases. What can be these possible duly justified cases, which is not, of course, the exhaustive list, but so for example, if the project partner comes from not easily accessible areas, or simply is not reimbursing the staff cost, or has a very low staff cost. This method will be assessed during the identified method in the application form, selected method in the application form will be assessed, and it will be set during the condition clearing in the final application form. And what is important, it has to remain unchanged through the entire project period. A few words about if the staff costs are reimbursed on a flat rate basis. This is advantage, and we are encouraging this on the program level to use this flat rate, because it's as every flat rate, there is no justification and supporting documents needed, and it's calculated based on a 15% of eligible staff cost. What is also important to be said that in case this option is used, further travel cost of the project staff and associate strategic partners incurred on a real cost basis cannot be planned under this or any other cost category. The associate strategic partner cost, the travel and accommodation, as my colleague Natalia already mentioned, the travel cost should be covered from the flat rate of the sponsoring project partner, which means that there is no need to provide justification and supporting documents for these travels. Eligibility of travel and accommodation costs does not depend on the form of reimbursement. In duly justified cases, that the travel and accommodation costs are accepted to be reimbursed on a real cost basis. This then will cover, so it will need to provide all the supporting documents for the travel cost, cost of meal, accommodation cost, visa cost, and daily allowances. In this case, also as applied for the previous option, is that the travel and accommodation cost of associated strategic partner shall be planned in the sponsoring partner's budget under the travel and accommodation cost category, not under external expertise. In case the travels of outside of the program area, they are subject of approval of JS, and they should be already included in application form. Budget line external expertise and services are covering the services and expertise provided by the companies, by the institution or natural person other than the project partners of the project. They have to be necessary for the project implementation, and of course already budgeted and described among the activities. Some of them I would like to mention. I already mentioned the control cost, which should be claimed under this cost category. What is important to say that they are not it's not eligible to share the cost among the project partners. So no share cost, it's possible. When planning, in case there will be some registration fees for participation on events, it should be planned under this cost category, not the cost category travel and accommodation. In case you will have planning to have a stakeholders travel cost and accommodation, this should be planned under this cost category, the external expertise, not under the cost category travel and accommodation. In case of cost of website and project logo created by the project partner as a simple communication tool, this is not eligible. Equipment cost, we are allowing the equipment which is only listed in application form as eligible. I will show you in the budget section how to fill in this part. it is eligible in the Danube region program to reimburse full cost of equipment, and it can be allocated to the project, of course, if it's in line with the national or institutional legislation. If not, only depreciation cost shall be allocated to the project. We are also giving possibility that rental and leasing costs for a certain period during the project lifetime it's eligible. In well-justified cases, cost for the purchases of the specific thematic second-hand equipment can be eligible under the conditions that there was not financed by any other Interreg funds or any other EU funds, that the price is not exceeding the generally accepted price on the market in question, and it has the technical characteristics necessary for the operation and complies with the applicable norms and standards. And the last but not the least, the cost category of infrastructure in works. As my colleague already explained, in the Danube region program, only small-scale infrastructure is eligible, where the transnational character of investment is demonstrated, and this activity is approved in application form in this section of investment, as she explained to you. Under this cost category, they should be included only the design and execution of works, as well as site preparation. What is important to mention here is that investment costs can be divided among several budget categories. And Natalia already mentioned, but I would like to underline that the purpose and ownership of investment cannot be changed 5 years after the final payment. Okay, so I finish this part about this eligibility. I would like now to go to GEMS and to Okay, so before we go to the budget section, I would like to remind you that under the project identification section, you should define the periods, because this is very important. You will see why. It's very important because the reporting periods are defined, first should be defined in order for you to distribute the budget properly. So under the partner overview, we have we'll go, for example, now to the lead partners budget, and there is a tab budget. Here, I already created this just for you to have. There is a budget overview, and it should be defined all the cost categories. In the first section, the partner's budget option, you should select the flat rates in the sense. So if you will go for a staff cost, a flat rate, this should be ticked here. I ticked here the office administrative costs, which are based on a staff cost 15%, and the travel and accommodation flat rate. The system will automatically calculate these costs. So show you, because I already fill it in here. I will show you in case of the second partner. What we can do is I will select the offer. As you can see in a previous table, you have the partner's budget overview with all the cost categories. I will select first office and administration and travel. And then I will add fill in staff cost. At the beginning, you have to insert the total amount. How many periods we have? 6. 60,000. the column total will appear, and now you have to distribute this 60,000 among the periods, as we have already explained, in line with as it is according to the public procurement and all the activities which should be performed. I will put it, for example, like this. The system will not allow you to continue and to close the cost category until you exhaust the equally distribute the total amount among the periods. What is important to mention is that each and every cost category inserted on as a real cost should be inserted only in one line, except the equipment cost, which should be all the detail listed. So if you have, for example, computer, level 1, and then changes, and then let's say laptop also. Of course, depending on your necessary equipment, which is necessary for your project implementation. So they should be listed per item. Of course, it is important to save, and I will go back to this project budget overview. As you can see, it is office administrative costs and travel costs are selected, automatically calculated based according to the flat rate set. What I would like also to show you is how to set the project lump sum. I have already mentioned that it is possible for certain partners. Okay, so I should make a break or?
What about you finish?
So we should select the preparation cost, lump sum, the period should be preparation, and then costs are 18,500. You should allocate only to the lead partners budget, not equal distribute among the partners. How you we don't take care of this part. We are just if it's of course eligible, we are transferring the money only to the lead partner. Okay, and I would like now to go back to the how to fill in the co-financing. There is one tab after the budget, co-financing. So it's quite self-explanatory. Here you should select first Interreg funds, and then the system calculates the amounts which you have to insert. As I have already mentioned, the co-financing can be the public, state, and private. Let's say that for this partner you have this indicated amount, how much is the difference, so you can easily type. This amount should be in line with the co-financing declaration that you are producing. And what is also very important, if you are tackling something after this creation and setting up these amounts here in this tab, if you are modifying something in the budget section, you have to update this part as well. It will not simply let you continue. So I think I finished my part.
And Miri is right. So actually about declarations. So here you have application and annexes section. I missed to mention it, where you have to upload partnership agreement, all the respective declarations, so which Kotelin mentioned you in the first presentation. So here actually the submission process through GEMS goes like this, like we explained. no paper version, only scanned declarations partnership agreement, which must be uploaded here and submitted accordingly. So let's check if Miri finished,
Yes,
whether we
yes,
have
thank you.
questions or no. So again, exchange of the information, we can see we are glad that it was like a matchmaking platform for you, dear participants. So I do not see questions, and our proposal, I think that you are tired, is to go for a short break,
Yes.
which is 15 minutes, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and after this, my colleague Forrest will come back to you with a presentation on quality assessment. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
See you later.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our lead applicant seminar. I hope you enjoyed this short period of break. I think my colleagues have been quite exhaustive in the information, and I hope you are now relaxed again and able to listen to what comes up next. So, try to share my screen. And additionally, I will turn off my camera. Okay. In the next few minutes, try to tell you something about the quality requirements for the second call. As we recently published our new applicant manual with some changes. At the last meeting of the monitoring committee decided to make some changes to the assessment procedures of the second call, and this is now what I try to inform you about. So let's directly step into the topic with the quality criteria. Of course, our assessment is based on quality criteria, which are linked to the specific objectives and the results of the denigration program document. These criteria apply to all priorities, to all specific objectives of the program, and the assessment will be carried out by the MHS. Basically, we have two criteria groups, one concerning the strategic assessment and the second one concerning the operational assessment. The strategic assessment is here to get a view about the contribution of the project to the program's objectives and to the program's results. You and everyone, for each of them, you get up to 5 points. And additionally, we included now a weighting system for certain criteria that most cases are quite important for the overall result. Every assessment starts with the strategic part. This is carried out first and independently from the operational assessment, and only such projects that are successfully passing the strategic assessment are then carried on to the operational assessment. There is a knockout threshold. This is set to 60%. So this means if a proposal receives a lower score than 60% in the strategic assessment, it will not be assessed operationally, and therefore it fails the overall assessment. If a proposal receives at least 60% of strategic assessment, then it will be assessed also from an operational point of view. And the final score of the proposal will be given by the weighted sum of the strategic and the operational assessment scores, while the weights are 70% for the strategic one and 30% of the operational one. So here's a little graphic to show this. For the strategic assessment, we have defined 17 criteria, so 17 possibilities where you can grab a maximum of 5 points. For the overall score, the strategic value has a weight of 70%. And you have to get 60% of the score of the points available in order to come to the operational assessment. Here we have 9 criteria, and the weight for the overall, for the total sum of scores is then 30%. Now let's go directly into the topic, the strategic relevance, and we start with the first group of questions. These questions refer to the relevance of the program. So the first question is about if the project topic is in line with the selected program's specific objectives. Here you see the weight for this question is 1.4, so a little bit more than the second question, which has a weight of 1. And the second question is if the project intervention logic is coherent with the program's one. I will give you for all the questions and for the criteria, I will give you some examples about possible shortcomings. So do I here. So what is a common shortcoming here? Maybe if a project topic does not meet the requirements of the selected specific objectives, or the project topic would be better fitting to another specific objective of the program, or, and this is also quite common, if the project proposal touches not just one specific objective of the program. So if it turns out to be more or less a combination, would fit to manifold, in this way you just put an eye on that. The second group of questions refers to the territorial needs and challenges. Here we have two groups, two questions. The first one is if the territorial needs and challenges are clearly and coherently described and addressed. And the second one is then if the capitalization of relevant previous projects and synergies with ongoing projects and bringing added value to them is demonstrated. And the third one refers to the durability and transferability of the project results, and if they are concretely described and supported. Possible shortcomings here would be that the general needs of the entire region are presented without any specific project-related information. So a very general information. And if there is a mismatch between the described activities, and if there is no clear information about the status quo, past initiatives, relevant results, and previous project added value. And for the last one, a possible shortcoming would be that there is not enough concrete information about the provisions concerning durability and transferability. Sorry? I can see also the next one. Do you need to know? No. I'm sorry for this little interruption. Let's go on again. So to the next group of questions concerning the strategic relevance, this refers to the intervention logic. The intervention logic has to be coherent in terms of the definition of the objectives, about expected with output and results, the link between the objectives, expected output and results, and we assess the link between the needs of the target groups and the proposed outputs and results. The second question concerning the intervention logic refers to envisaged activities and if they realistically can reach the planned outputs and results. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of shortcomings possible here. We start with a very strong one, that the intervention logic lacks internal coherence, or that described activities cannot logically lead to the achievement of the project objective, or if described outputs cannot logically contribute to the achievement of the envisaged results. And this goes on with sometimes the project main objective is too briefly described, or is just using wordings coming from our own documents, or instead of the main objective, project activities are described, or project activities are mentioned instead of project-specific objectives. So, or maybe also project-specific objectives are not entirely coherent with the project activities. The list of the shortcomings is still here, so it's also possible that project outputs are presented instead of defining the project result, or that maybe project result does not indicate the advantage of carrying out the project, or it is not coherent with the planned activities outputs, or maybe project outputs are not sufficiently or clearly described, or project outputs do not seem achievable as a result of the planned activities. It's also possible that project activities are not clearly and comprehensively described in the context in which they are implemented, or their benefits, their importance are described instead. And what's also possible in the intervention logic is, what as a shortcoming is that the role of the individual partners is not clearly described and not clearly developed in the terms, in the meaning of that all partners will contribute. The next group of questions in the strategic assessment is concerning the contributions to the EU strategies and policy. Here we have two main questions where you can get points. The first one is about relevant EU strategies and policies, not especially the USDR, on the thematic field, and if they are addressed and contributed to. And the second question is then the contribution to the EU SDR priority areas and targets, if they are identified, if the project contributes to them, and if this idea and if the USDR is embedded in the overall proposal. The shortcomings here can be that unrelated strategies are unmentioned, or project contributions thereto does not seem realistic, or that inappropriate USDR targets are listed, or project contribution thereto does not seem realistic, or that there are no specific actions proving the USDR embedding in the proposal. The next group of questions refers to partnership composition. The first question is about the right mix of countries and competencies for the project topic and its geographic focus, if relevant. The next one is concerning the role of partners, that these roles of partners shall be balanced and relevant for achieving the main objective. And the last one is about the involvement of non-EU countries with a weight again of 1.4. What about the shortcomings? Please take a look on the geographical coverage. It shall not be limited, even though the addressed topic is relevant for a wider area. Partners do not have the most appropriate competences to implement the planned activities, so this can create a shortcoming. It can also happen that some relevant sectors and levels of governance are simply missing. That could be important for the implementation. It can also be possible that the partnership composition favors just one or two countries. Another shortcoming could be that the benefits of the involved countries vary to a significant extent. So even here we have in that case an imbalance, and we try to avoid that. And last possible example could be that the partner's involvement is not coherent with the expertise. Then we come to the transnational cooperation. Again, we have two questions here. First one refers to the project's transnational dimension and impact. Here you are asked to demonstrate that the geographical coverage and planned activities and outputs are coherent, and we put here a weight of 2. The second question refers to the added value of the transnational cooperation, and it has to be clearly demonstrated in comparison to a national or cross-border approach. So it has to be clear what could be the difference and what is in the end how this proposal is creating added value through the transnational cooperation. Possible shortcomings would be, for instance, that the project activities are not jointly implemented, or they are not harmonized, or that the project transnational impact is limited due to a restricted geographical area covered by the partnership, or that project outputs do not have a transnational impact, or that the added value of the transnational cooperation is not clearly demonstrated. Now we come to the last group of questions concerning the strategic relevance. The first question is about the relevant target groups, if they're clearly identified, listed, and involved. The second question is concerning the integration and the use of project outputs by the target group. And the third question refers to the contribution to the program's horizontal principles, and if they are coherent with the overall territorial needs and with the programs and project objectives. The second question received a weight of 1.6. Third question, a weight of 0.6. What kind of shortcomings are possible? Well, for instance, that inappropriate target groups are mentioned, or maybe that it is not clear how the target groups will adopt or use the project outputs. So please make it clear and make it clear in the description. Or maybe that the project's contribution to the horizontal principles is not presented in the light of actual activities. So this means, for instance, that you describe something what cannot be reflected in the work plan or inside your activities. And now we come to the operational assessment. But before that, I would like to once again remind you, after the strategic assessment, you get a first score. If this score reaches 60%, we will go on with the operational relevance. If this score receives less than 60%, then I'm afraid the proposal fails the assessment. If you have 60% or more, we will go on then with the next group of questions. The first group will be concerning the work plan. So here we take a look first on the timetable and the spending forecast, whether this is realistic or coherent, and if there's a clear link between the activities and outputs, and if there are achievable activities and outputs. And we also take a look on the readiness. Is this project ready to be implemented? And the second question refers to the activities. themselves, if they are described in detail, so this means how, where, when, and by whom, they will be elaborated, and are the activities balanced in terms of geographical implementation. This second question has then a weight of 2. Possible shortcomings here is that the time plan is simply not realistic. Maybe activity is too short or too long, or not coherent. The sequence is logical, or probably it's not coherent. The project can be ready for implementation. So that's the estimation, the background vision and effective description of the and in the second question, we with that question, applicant from EU government demonstrated or maybe measures for medical support issues. If possible, sometimes here if the magic structure is not proportionate to the needs of the project, or maybe the effective implementation of or policy management is not proceed, and maybe the applicant is less experienced in the core project. Then we have the question group concerning communication. The first question refers to the communication objectives and if they are clearly linked to the project-specific objectives. This question has a weight 3. And the second question refers to communication activities and deliverables and if they are appropriate to reach the relevant target groups and stakeholders with a weight of 2. Possible shortcomings are that communication activities are not well tailored to project objectives, activities, output type of address stakeholders of target groups, or maybe that not all project partners are involved in communication activities. And then we have the last group of questions concerning then the project budget. Here we have 3 questions. First one is that the budget allocated to each activity is justified and quantified. This question has a weight of 3. Next one is if the budget of each cost category based on real cost is coherent with the planned activities and involves partners with a weight of 2. And the last one is if the partner's budget is consistent with their involvement in the activities with a weight of 2. Possible shortcomings are here that the budget is inappropriately distributed per project partner or per activity or per specific objective or per cost category or per reporting period. Another possible shortcoming could be that the amount allocated to external expertise is simply too high. This raises the question of the relevance of the respective partner in the project. Or another possible shortcoming could be that the requested amounts for the equipment or infrastructure and works are not justified by the planned activities. After this assessment, we calculate the final scores. If the proposal gets an overall score less than 60%, it will be recommended by the MHES for rejection. If the proposal scores in overall over 60%, then it will be subject to further discussions and the final decision will be taken by the MC. And the final decision on the financing of the proposals will be taken by the MC based on the results of the technical assessment, the ranking list, and of course, the funds available. So I thank you very much for your attention, and I take a look now on the chat if there are some questions that are here to be answered. Yeah, so here's a question concerning the specific objective 2.1. Why is the priority 2.1 closed? Will it be opened at a later stage? Thank you. The reason for the closure of 2.1 for the second call is simply that we had lots of successful project proposals in the first call. So currently there are no funds available, and we hope that the situation clears out then for the third call. So it is expected that we will have priority 2.1 again in the third call. And next question, is the EU strategy for the Danube region the SESCI paper or something else? The Danube region strategy is a strategy from the European Union, and macro-regional strategy from the European Union. This is co-financed by our program, and all our specific objectives fit to the EU strategy for the Danube region. So all our activities contribute to the region as well. So here's a question, what means PRR and EFR? So PRR is project report, and but this is then later needed if the project is on the way. The presentation will be available on the website. So can you explain the weight system? The weight system, we introduced a so-called weight system for the case that we consider a question as extremely important, or at least very important. And we didn't want to change the point system, so every question has to be answered from 0 to 5. But with the weight system, specific and certain questions receive a scale point. This is also visible in the applicant's manual. So if you go to the section where the assessment and the assessment grade is explained, you can see even here about the weight and what's here possible. So and then I thank you for your kind attention and for the question. And I hope that I can directly go on. I go give the floor to Michael Pavlik. He will tell you about the communication. And Michael, are you here?
Hi, Horst, I'm here. I can take over.
Okay, wonderful. Then thank you very much. Yeah, so see you.
Ciao, ciao. Good early afternoon. I'm going to try to share my presentation. I apologize at the moment. I have some technical problems. If you let me fix it, maybe it will take some 5 minutes. I don't want to let you wait without knowing what's happening. So let me please try to fix this technical issue. All right, here we go. Once again, I apologize for this. I had some issue with the application. I couldn't share my screen, but I managed with the help of my colleagues. So they will, they will now be my fingers, and I will be the voice of this presentation. So I will just go very briefly through communication requirements because this doesn't directly concern the application. I hope you can hear me. That's the most important at the moment. You heard from the previous panelists, from Horst, and before that also from Natalia, that communication is a part of a work plan in the application. So it means that you don't have to separately fill out any tab to describe the target groups and objectives of the communication and so on. But with each activity or project objective and output, you have to describe how you are going to use communication tools and what target groups you will approach to actually make sure that these outputs, these project objectives will be met. In general, for those that will be in the end successful and will get our funding, I will go through some visibility requirements. Why it's important for this webinar, we think you should know so that you can plan ahead some human resources, and also you will see what kind of support we provide and what we provide for communication, so that you don't have to plan this in your communication or in your project implementation in general, in the budget and so on. So most importantly, for all programs which are financed by the EU, you of course need to display the EU emblem. It is part of the project brand that we will be sharing with you. It is part of the program identity, visual identity. It comes with the co-funding statement, so to say. It's funded by the European Union. So all the outputs that you will create as part of the project will have to clearly bear this emblem and the co-funding statement. But it is part of the project brand we will be sharing with you, so you don't have to worry. It will be also explained how to correctly use it in the project branding manual that we will provide all the projects with. We can go to the next slide. Three things I will mention during my presentation, which are important for you to know. What you need to do for communication. You have to appoint a communication manager. You will have to ensure visibility requirements. And during project implementation, you will have to contribute to the program communication as well, because we as a program very much, of course, rely on your achievements, on your outputs to communicate. So it's important that you keep this in mind and you plan your human resources as such. Okay, so let's go. Communication manager, what is that? Of course, you all have project managers, you'll have a financial manager, and one very important function or position in your consortium is to appoint a project communication manager. Usually it should be someone from the lead partner organization who is going to then coordinate communication activities of all the project partners, somebody who can ensure visibility requirements, and somebody that we can keep in touch with, also to provide feedback on keeping the visibility requirements, and also to provide us with communication outputs that we will use for the program communication, or contribute to our communication campaigns, or to take part in events that we are organizing or will invite you to participate in. Okay, you can go to the next slide. What do we mean by visibility requirements? You can see these words in bold that sum it up, basically. You will have to use the project logo and the support statement, so co-funded by the European Union, in all your communication that you do during project implementation. You also have to set up a project website. to inform about the project, and website. Okay, one more thing about website. Not just there, but also on the websites of all the project partners. Of course, not in such a complex way, but in all the project partners' website, there must be an information that you are taking part in the project, what are the project objectives, and that the project received support from the Interreg Danube Region program. Also, all the project partners have to put up a project poster in their premises. It can be also digital. Okay, nowadays many of the bigger organizations have displays, maybe somewhere in the lobbies. It can be there as well. The minimum size is A3, but all these will be specified in the guidelines that you will receive once you will get the funding from us. Last but not least, in case of physical investments or bigger equipment purchased, you also have to plan ahead in your budget that there must be a plaque or billboard created that will inform about this investment, that it is financed from the project and from the program. Okay, we can go to the next one. So speaking about project logo or project brand, you will see in the next slide. I don't want to go into a very detail, but it consists of, as I said, the emblem of the European Union, the funding statement, the name of the program, so Interreg Danube region, and also a name of the project, or acronym of the name of the project, which will be in the color of the priority which you select. There are 4 colors. We will provide you with the package of the logo, both for print and for web, after basically we sign the contract with the lead partner. In general, the logo will have to be placed in the top position of all the project outputs that you create, and in case of the digital ones, without the need of scrolling, so it is clearly there for everyone that visits the website or application that you create as part of the project. We don't finance separate logos, but you can develop special logos for maybe some outputs that will be created as part of the project. Okay, we can go next. This is for the moment how the logo of the project might look like. It is not final. We still are in the process of creating and finalizing the identity of the program. So this is just an idea how it might look like. You see clearly the composition of different parts which make up together the logo of the project. Okay, we can go next. Project website, also important information for you to know. We will provide you with project pages, basically, which will be embedded in the program website. We will have a new website probably next year. So there you will have some preset information coming from the application, and then the rest will be filled out by you. And then, of course, as communication of the project will continue, you are expected to update it regularly, not just with news, but also with the communication outputs. Let's say it means videos, photos, and so on, things that we can then use also on the program level to communicate what's going on in the implementation of the program. And something I said also before, aside from having a project website, which will be hosted by our program website, so it will be, you don't need to finance a creation of a new website or separate website for your program, for your project. Also, all the project partners that have websites or have social media have to inform about the project in short way. There is a list of requirements, of course, including the project logo, the description of the project's aims, partners, and duration of the project at minimum, of course, and then highlighting the financial support from the Interreg Danube Region program. As you can see at the bottom of the slide, we of course allow the development of extra websites for tools or products that will come out of the project. Let's say maybe a database or some platform which will kind of have a life of its own outside of the lifespan of the project. That is possible. Okay, we can go further. Poster, again, I said it at the beginning in the summary. This is something you also will have to do. We will provide also a template for the poster. It will be part of this branding manual. So you don't have to, but it is possible to create your own, there, including, if it will include, of course, some minimum requirements that will be also detailed in this guidelines. Billboard and plaques. Okay, I also put it here because it is part of the visibility requirements. Then in case of some equipment purchases or investments above €500,000, you need to put up a durable plaque or billboard on the operation site. What it can look like, again, we will probably create some template or some visual aid which will tell you how it should look like and what it has to include. But of course, here, as I also put it in this slide, project name, name of the project beneficiary, project logo, and maybe a website or QR code, so that whoever sees it can learn more about what is it a part of. So it's not just a piece of equipment, but that it served some project. All right. Aside from the communication or visibility requirements, of course, there are communication tools that we will be happy to see used by projects. Again, something to think about when you think about human resources and the kind of people that you would like to involve in your project implementation. We use social media as a program. It will be very good if you have people who can do it also in your project. Regularly update the social media accounts. You don't have to use all of them. Some, maybe your organization as a lead partner organization, or create a new one just for the project. That's up to you. We might also have some seminars just to maybe support communication managers of the projects to use social media and communicate the project. So just something to think about also in the phase of designing the project, that social media is an important part of the communication nowadays as well. Okay, can go to the next one. And again, something which will definitely be part of the branding guidelines. I said at the beginning, all the outputs of the project have to include the statement, which refers clearly to the support from the Interreg and Engagement Program. Also, this is not only limited to physical objects, but also it extends to events, for example. So wherever you will have some activity presenting the project, you should also include or acknowledge the support from the program in a speech or in some way appropriate. Okay. And the last point from the list at the beginning, what is important, so not just keep the visibility requirements, and now I cannot remember what was the first point, but the last was to be in touch with us, with program communication officers, because we will be very often asking you for some communication products, for photos from the project, so that we can share them on our program website, or maybe forward them further to the European Commission, which is compiling some results of projects from different regions. We will also ask you to be actively taking part in the program campaigns and different activities. So again, it's important that your communication manager is available and can coordinate these activities with different project partners. Very often we will have or we will be asked to contribute to some events on the EU level in Brussels or in the countries in the program area. Again, we will ask you to be present or to share results of the project. So it is something to count in as you will be designing the project application. That's all from my side. I believe this is the last slide. So once again, I apologize for the technical issues at the beginning. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer. If not, this presentation will be shared together with the others. And basically all the detailed information about communication will be in the branding manual provided to projects at a later stage. So thank you very much. I don't know if somebody else is now going to say some final words. Okay.
So thank you, Michal. Thank you, all my colleagues. And thank you for participating in such big numbers. We are very happy to see that there will be again very tough competition. So I do hope that you have found this webinar very inspirational, that you cleared many questions that you had. You heard quite some details regarding the application process, very high quality information. So thank you, Natalia, on behalf of all the colleagues. And you will find this recording as well as all the PPTs published on our website. In case that you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us. There will be a thematic seminar, actually two thematic seminars, environment on the 13th of November, and the next lead applicant seminar will be on the 20th of November. We thank you very much and wish you a pleasant afternoon, and please follow the Danube Region program. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.
Bye.